There are evils we can fight: corruption, hatred, violence. But Bonhoeffer didn't fear evil most. He feared stupidity. Not the laughable kind, not memes, typos, or ignorance, but a terrifying, quiet kind. The kind that walks with pride, wears a suit, votes with conviction, and says, "I'm just doing what's right." Because the truly dangerous person isn't the one who doesn't know. It's the one who refuses to think. Bonhoeffer was a theologian, philosopher, and dissident in Nazi Germany, imprisoned for resisting Hitler. Surrounded by guards who followed orders blindly, he asked himself, how did Germany, home of Goethe, Bach, and Kant, become obedient to madness? His answer wasn't in politics or military strategy. It wasn't Hitler's genius. It was something far more disturbing, a surrender of conscience by ordinary people. Stupidity is not a lack of intelligence, he wrote. It is a moral failure. He had seen it with his own eyes, well-educated men parroting propaganda, church leaders echoing fascism, scholars exchanging reason for allegiance. This wasn't ignorance. It was cowardice disguised as certainty. Bonhoeffer drew a sharp line. Intelligence is the capacity to think. Stupidity is the refusal to use it. In a society obsessed with credentials and IQ, we forget that intelligence isn't wisdom, and knowledge isn't virtue. He warned, the stupid person is often more dangerous than the malicious one. Why? Because malice can be confronted, but stupidity believes it is good. It doesn't resist evil, it obeys it, not out of agreement, but out of passivity. Long before Bonhoeffer, Plato gave us a prophecy in The Republic. He described a society where the wise no longer rule and truth is replaced by opinion. A world where people are no longer interested in reasoning, only belonging. In his Allegory of the Cave, Plato imagines prisoners chained in darkness mistaking shadows for reality. Why? Because facing the light of truth is painful. Thinking is hard. So they remain comfortably ignorant. They would kill the man who tried to free them, Plato wrote. And isn't that what we see today? Those who question the mob are labeled traitors. Those who challenge the algorithm are buried by it. Those who speak inconvenient truths are silenced, not with bullets, but with shame. Plato's warning wasn't about intellect. It was about the death of dialectic, the art of asking why. Psychologist Stanley Milgram conducted an experiment to test how far people would go in obeying authority. Participants were told to deliver electric shocks to a stranger, escalating to lethal levels. The person being shocked was an actor, but the participants didn't know that. Most obeyed. Many hesitated, but still pressed the button. Milgram's finding? Obedience requires no malice, only the belief that someone else knows better. Bonhoeffer would have nodded. Stupidity, he said, spreads not because people are evil, but because they stop trusting their own reason. They become part of a machine, and machines don't ask questions. Modern neuroscience backs them both. Thinking burns calories, literally. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic, is expensive to run. Emotion, tribalism, and familiarity, those are cheap, fast, rewarding. Social media hijacks this. Every like, every retweet, every shared outrage, it tells your brain, you're right, you're good, don't question this. This is engineered stupidity. It's not about being wrong, it's about being unthinking. It's a world where echo chambers sound like wisdom and volume replaces depth. Bonhoeffer's Nazis wore uniforms. Today's foot soldiers wear hashtags. Let's go back to another German philosopher, Immanuel Kant. In his famous essay, What is Enlightenment?, he writes, Enlightenment is man's emergence from his self-imposed immaturity. Immaturity is the inability to use one's understanding without the guidance of another. Kant believed the human mind was naturally capable of reason, but that many choose comfort over clarity. We obey ideologies, we mimic influencers, we avoid doubt like the plague. Why? Because thinking independently demands courage. And Bonhoeffer agreed, stupidity is cowardice in disguise. Bonhoeffer wrote something profound and terrifying. Stupidity is less a psychological problem than a sociological one, meaning it spreads like a virus. One person stops questioning, another follows. Soon, the entire village speaks the same lie with sincerity. And the smarter the people, the more dangerous the stupidity, because they're better at rationalizing it. As philosopher Hannah Arendt warned, the real horror isn't monsters, it's banality. The sad truth is that most evil is done by people who never make up their minds to be good or evil.
So what are we left with?
A society engineered for obedience. A culture that punishes depth. A psychology addicted to comfort. A species designed to think, but trained to comply. Bonhoeffer saw this. Plato warned us. Kant challenged us. Milgram proved it. And still we scroll. Still we parrot. Still we obey. So the question arises, what does it take to remain intellectually independent in a world that punishes thinking? Can you stay free when the crowd chants louder? Can philosophy still save us from ourselves? If stupidity is so dangerous, how do we resist it? And more importantly, how do we not become part of it? Bonhoeffer said, "It is not that people are stupid by nature. They become stupid, as if under a spell. It's not a spell in the magical sense. It's the spell of comfort, conformity, and cowardice. A spell that tells you it's easier to follow than to ask why." Philosopher Hannah Arendt, who reported on the Eichmann trials, the Nazi bureaucrat who claimed he was just following orders, coined the phrase, "the banality of evil." Eichmann didn't appear evil. He didn't even appear passionate. He appeared thoughtless, and that was the true horror. Bonhoeffer saw this too. He realized that the real enemy isn't malice, is the calm, smiling, obedient man who has stopped thinking. This brings us to Plato's Allegory of the Cave, a foundational metaphor for this entire discussion. Imagine living in a dark cave, seeing only shadows. That's all you've ever known. Then one day, someone drags you out into the painful brightness of the sun. At first, you resist. You're angry, blinded. You don't want to see. This, Plato tells us, is what it's like to wake up to reality, to question illusions. It's painful, and people will fight you for it. They would kill the one who tried to free them. Plato, The Republic. Now imagine the modern cave. Algorithmic news feeds, echo chambers, instant reactions, easy answers, and anyone who drags you out, who questions the shadows, is cancelled, mocked, ignored. Bonhoeffer and Plato were centuries apart, but their warning is the same. People prefer the comfort of illusion to the burden of truth. The brain loves cognitive ease. It prefers repetition, pattern, familiarity. It's an energy-saving machine. When we hear the same thing enough, even if it's false, we begin to believe it. This is called the illusory truth effect. And social media exploits this. The most viral content isn't the most accurate. It's the most emotionally charged, the simplest, the most divisive. So now stupidity isn't just moral, it's mechanized, automated, fed to us by algorithms that reward conformity and rage. Bonhoeffer never saw TikTok or YouTube, but he predicted the outcome. The stupid person will also be capable of any evil, and at the same time incapable of seeing that it is evil. This is where many lose hope. But Bonhoeffer didn't give up, and neither should we. The solution to stupidity, he believed, is not argument, but liberation, not ridicule, but responsibility. Reclaim the will to think. Thinking is a choice, a daily practice. Ask yourself, is this my opinion or one I've borrowed? Be alone without being lonely. Bonhoeffer wrote much of his deepest insights in prison, alone. Solitude can sharpen clarity. Disconnect to reconnect, not just to the world, but to yourself. Only the one who is alone is free. Arthur Schopenhauer. Choose the slower path. Fast news, hot takes, emotional reactivity, all shortcuts to stupidity. Slow down. Read whole books. Sit with discomfort. Speak even when it's unpopular. You will be misunderstood, but truth doesn't need to win. It just needs to survive. Each voice makes that possible. In the end, they will not ask what you believed. They will ask if you were willing to think for yourself. Bonhoeffer died in a concentration camp, but his words are alive. And so is his challenge. Every time you pause before sharing something you didn't verify, every time you choose thought over outrage, every time you teach your child to ask why, you resist the machinery of stupidity. And sometimes, that's enough. Stupidity isn't a lack of intellect. It's the quiet decision to stop asking questions. But history isn't shaped by the loudest voices. It's shaped by the clearest minds and the few who dare to think when it's dangerous. So choose to see. Choose to ask. Choose to think. And when the world turns to noise, be the signal. If this made you pause, even for a moment, don't let it end here. Share your thoughts in the comments. What's one idea you're willing to question today? Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to join others who choose to think, even when it's easier not to. Because clarity begins when we stop following the noise and start becoming the signal.